How's it going, people? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to the Loose Cannons podcast. Hope you're good. Hope you're well. Jordan's shaking his head already. We're in for a good show, people. Like, hype, subscribe, do what you need to do. Channel links are in the description below. Big up Jordan, big up James, as always, each and every time we do this show. But each and every time we do this show, apart from that one time during Christmas, we've had a special guest. And a couple of times the special guest has been what some may call an op. But on this show, when the ops come in, they put the allegiances aside, somewhat bias aside, and there's no better person to do that on YouTube football world, in my opinion, than Mr. Lyes Bouzidi. Did I say that right?
You did. That's perfect.
Come on,
perfect.
brother. Come on, big
Thank
up,
you,
man.
guys. Appreciate that. That's a
Big boy in the building.
I'll try my best, man.
75K incoming. Straight. Got the big dogs on the pods. Best guest here.
You guys have had some big hitters on here, man. I saw Sharky on here a few weeks ago. Obviously, you guys got Cam.
You get 85K, 90K, I think, on that one. I'm just saying.
Yeah. That's a real big dog right there.
Big time.
Jordan's also one of the most shallow people you'll ever meet, by the way. It's just, what views are you bringing me? Well, basically, that's nothing to do with that, apparently.
He did for me.
But no, it's a pleasure to be on here. Honestly, thank you so much, guys.
Lyes, big up though, man, because for me, obviously, I'm not someone that consumes and has consumed content daily. More time I do it, and then I kind of take a step back from it all and do my own thing. But you've just burst through over the recent years, but you've just burst through, and I gotta say, you've just hit 100K on More Lyes. Big up More Lyes, the channel in the description below. Congratulations on that one. You got the plaque there. I see it in the back, nicely too. So big up, big up.
Yeah. Nah, I appreciate that, man.
Same question I asked Cams, Lyes. Are you this neutral figure because United are such, in a precarious position, and you have to be now, because there was a point where I had to do that with Arsenal, or is this just you? Is this always been you? You're just a football man first and foremost.
I think with United, I'm definitely very level-headed, a lot because of my dad. My dad, for me, I think is just a very pessimistic person in general. Like, if people be thinking I'm a pessimistic United fan, but they haven't met my dad. My dad, when United were winning, I remember was complaining about stuff. I remember even towards the end of the Fergie years, there'd be losses, and he'd tell me, he's like, Fergie's starting to lose it, man. Honestly, I remember him saying that, honestly, and I look back at it now, and I was like, he's just chatting shit, man. But I think because of that, I was always able to look at it almost like offset him, be a bit more positive, and then at times, I was always kind of looking for a more balanced view of it. So with United, I think I've always been balanced, and also, I don't know, maybe that's just the way I look at things. But with football, man, I always tell people I think I'm more of a football fan than I am a Man United fan. Just the amount of football I watch per week. I can watch United lose a game and then watch games throughout the week as well too, and not have to look at it through a United point of view, or not have my mood ruined by United. So I think maybe that's kind of why it helps. Maybe growing up in the US as well too, I didn't have 50,000 Arsenal fans around me. That might make me look at the club a different way. I mean, I had a few friends that were watching football back in the day, but it wasn't so big back then as it is obviously here. And then, to be fair, in the US, it's growing a lot over the last few years.
Yeah.
So interesting, I definitely, my weekend's ruined if Arsenal don't get a result they should get. I'm the opposite. I'm more Arsenal fan than I'm football fan. Genuinely, I consume every bit of Arsenal news. I want to talk about all of it. But with football, I'm the opposite. But fair play to you, Lyes, for a couple of things. Firstly, I'm the same as Tex. I don't really consume that much other football content, because maybe we talk about football so much. I don't know. I just like to consume other things. But I think I've said this to you. It might sound like I don't know, going OTT here. But I genuinely tune into a lot of your content, because you watch so much football. I'm learning. So big up, keep doing what you're doing. And also, a lot of people might not know this, and if you don't want people to know this, we can just cut this from the edit. But we did the same sports journalism course.
I think we spoke about this before. Yeah,
I think we were a couple years apart, but so weirdly similar 1 year in our journeys, which is kind of strange. But
can we mention them? Shout out St. Mary's.
It's St. Mary's University.
Shout out Dara Minogue, honestly, shout him out.
Dara, what a guy.
What a guy, it's true.
It's just so strange. I remember watching your content, and then I remember something happened where you went mini viral. People were talking about it, and I remember seeing a guy that I think taught you, who's in my class, the South African guy, who's Dan.
Yeah.
He was reposting and replying. I was like, they know each other, and then Dara was in on it, and I was like, what's going on here? And then that's when I clocked.
Daniel, right?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I what was that about? I think it was you know what it was? I think it was I was on this World Cup documentary, right?
That's it.
On Netflix, and people just the thing is I never promoted it whatsoever because funny story about that. It was delayed like maybe 6 months to the point that I didn't even know if it was ever going to release. And then one day it just dropped. And I didn't even know. It didn't even let me know. And then someone must have like tweeted out like, how did this guy end up on a Netflix documentary? Like how the hell, like he's a football Twitter guy. And then, yeah, that guy came out in my defense saying, like, he's got like he's got a journalism degree, sports management, all of that stuff. And yeah, I think that's the one we first kind of like, oh, you also went the same areas.
Yes, that was it. Anyway, sorry, a little bit of lore for people there. I just thought it was quite funny. Yeah.
Just want to say, a plaque in the back for a successful YouTube channel. Clearly, a degree in sports journalism as well. But just to let all of our viewers and listeners know, there will be a point during this podcast where Lyes will leave the podcast to go and take a delivery from the delivery man. So professionalism isn't entirely at its apex. I'm just.
Even professionals got to eat, right?
He needs some fuel. He needs some fuel.
He hit 100K, said, I'm just going to order delivery.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Listen,
I'll hit the heights.
Go show Lyes some love, people, because listen, the glowing reports are warranted, justified, and not only that. Listen, I'm going to put a couple links in the description below. It's a new concept, a new show that Lyes has been hosting for another company, but me and James have both taken part. I've done the Invincibles match against Liverpool in 03-04, where I spoke to Lyes and Joe Bayer, and James also done a Arsenal Chelsea FA Cup final episode. So I'm going to put those two there because it's a different concept. We talk about games from the past, and Lyes as a football man hosts it well. But Lyes also has a soft spot for Inter Milan over the years, like many people do. If you watched Inter over the 90s, 2000s with them Jose Mourinho's success, the Inter Milan are a great club, big heritage, and they've got a lot of fans. So we're here to talk about Inter because we've just dispatched them seamlessly with a rotated side, and then we're going to get onto the United stuff, people. So like, hype, subscribe, show some love to Lyes, past 100K, but road to 150. So subscribe if you haven't. But let's get into it, man. Big win in Europe, 7 wins in 7 now. Jordan, I'm going to start with you this time. We're going to change it up a little bit.
Thank you very much.
Why not? Usually you like to wait your turn and then bring out 7 points. Bring them out now, brother. 3-1 win at San Siro.
Complaints.
I haven't. Shut up, James.
Jordan, are we gonna?
Oh no! We'll
Finish kind of deserved it.
We'll get to Glock watch in a little bit. He'll get his time.
What do you guys call it? Glock watch. Glock watch.
He calls it
Glock watch. You know what I mean? And it ain't been going well so far. Yeah, right now. This guy's got his own text in our podcast. He's been awful. I love how we're just bullying up Europe. I love how we're just running through Europe and dominating. And, I'll say this. A bit like the Premier League, and I know me and James disagree on this, but like the Premier League, I don't think this is the best European Champions League, right? I don't think we're looking at vintage teams. However, that's not our problem. We are dealing with business. Inter Milan are not the Inter Milan of, oh, whoa, what's happening there? What's that? See?
That's a standard reaction to a Jordan take, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm out of it.
I hear it. Sometimes I've heard enough. As well, but
I've heard enough. Who's this guy? I'll just carry on waffling.
It says the device not connected, so I'm sure he's going to pick it up in a sec. There we go.
He'll come back.
He came quicker than I thought he was.
Okay. There we go.
My fault.
As I was saying, I loved how we handled business with this team. I don't think it's a great European platter of teams, but we, alongside Bayern, are clearly the 2 best teams in this competition. We've really run through our 7 games. 7 out of 7 in any competition is impressive. Inter Milan are not the Inter Milan of last year. It's not a vintage Inter Milan of when, Lyes, you said you started supporting them, but it's still Inter Milan away. They got some good players in that team, and they're to be respected. And to go there and beat them 3-1, and I think there was a gap in levels. I think we were playing a couple of levels below our capacity, and we're still a level above. Apart from the first 20 minutes, 10 minutes was a little bit scatty. I thought we imposed ourselves really well with players missing or on the bench as well. So I thought it was a real credit to the team. You know, you too often hear me talk about in European competition, you've got to pay your dues, right? You've got to put money in the bank to become a European giant. You've got to earn those stripes. You've got to earn that European pedigree. And I don't think we've earned it yet. But I think in the last couple of years, we're earning it. And I think this might be the year where we can deposit. Not deposit, we can withdraw even. And we'll see how it goes. But I like how we're just bullying up teams in this competition. I thought the 3 goals were really, really good. I love how we're pressing teams. It is mad. I said in the Chelsea game, we had 3 players on their box when their keeper had the ball, and then 3 more about 10 yards behind them. Last night, it was 7. There were 7 players. Like, just as it was, the press was mad. And that's without Rice. That was without Declan Rice. And Odegaard, probably our 2 best pressers. So I'm loving how we're just putting it on teams. We're saying, if you can go long, good luck, because we're going to beat you in the air. If you want to play on the play, we'll win it back early. What are you going to do? You're going to dribble past us? Good luck with that as well. I just loved how aggressive the press was. I loved how, and it's been mentioned on a pod I listened to this morning, but that as a pass for the first goal, I think it's the pre-assist, but I thought it was very interesting because for all Odegaard's assets, he doesn't make that pass. He doesn't make that pass. Odegaard passes sideways or backwards or keeps the ball. But I like how Eze's first thinking is, can I get it forward quick? I don't think he had a great game, but that is an example of the difference between Eze and Odegaard. And I love that positivity of him punching it forward. And that is what ultimately led to the goal. We'll get to go on.
It's interesting you say that with Eze. Maybe we should start with Eze because I kind of said similar. In my match reaction, there was a point where I said, listen, Eze didn't have a great game. But then I thought, but then again, the intensity, the playing through the middle, that pass in particular for the first goal where he punches it in. But not only does that, he crashes the box after. I think that is very much a big difference between him and Odegaard. Odegaard probably lays it to a Trossard or a Martinelli in that position to keep it ticking. Whereas as he punches it into Jesus, follows up, doesn't get the follow up, but it still lands because there's chaos in the box. I think Eze had one of those games where he didn't have his moment or his moments, but he had a heavy influence on the game.
I agree. And I think he's growing into how Mikel Arteta wants him to play. I think it might take him a little while, but I'm still adamant he's got a big role and will play a big role in the last part of this season. I mean, again, we'll get to the forwards. There's only one thing in football I love better than a really good first touch, and it's an outside of the foot pass or shot. That Henry goal, I think it was Slavia Prague back in the day, where he's curled it outside the box.
Spartak Moscow or Prague, one of those. He come back from injury. It's been a while. He gets it. I think it was Prague. Remind me.
Whoever it was, that finish is one of the hardest finishes to do. And if you pass it the way Martinelli did it as well, it's just as sexy to me. It's such a good ball. It's such a good ball, and it set off Gyokeres and allowed Saka to crash the box as well. So that pass deserves a lot of love. That was definitely that was a Pornhub type pass for football. That was like, oh, what you doing?
Elite level analysis on this pod, Leo.
Sorry, but I'm just saying that I wouldn't say turn me on, but that was porn level kind of type techers. I loved it. And I thought one fun thing I'll mention before I defer.
Do you know how many people are on Pornhub now searching Martinelli pass?
You never know. It could be a new category.
And I'm being left seriously disappointed.
Trust me. Or surprised. Yeah. I've never searched it, if I'm honest.
It could be a new category. I'll have a look later on. But my last point will be Mikel Arteta. I loved the subs that he made, the timings he made, and the starting lineup as well, because, Ben White got some good minutes. Mosquera got some good minutes. First game back, I thought he was really good. I really like Mosquera, really like him. Martinelli came on at the right time when Inter were clearly kind of pushing forward to try and get a goal. That's when you bring on Martinelli in Europe, away from home, spacing to running behind. I thought he could have done it a little bit better, but he did do that. Eze got good minutes. Gyokeres come on, and that's going to boost his confidence. Jesus started, got 2 goals. I thought his selections and his subs, I thought he got everything right. Everything right. It was a really relaxed Mikel. It was smiling. You never see him really smiling during games, but he's a man that knows he's in the groove. He's really in the groove now, and he knows that he's on top of Europe right now, and we've handled business. The last game next week now, we can play a really weakened team and just focus now on the League Cup and the Premier League. So in conclusion, for me, I thought it was a brilliant game. Love the press, love the pass to Martinelli. 3-1. Let's go win this Champions League.
Lyes, you know, Arsenal over the past 12 to 18 months, I'll use what Jordan uses in terms of getting credit in the bank. And, you know, there's something come out just in the past couple of days that I think Chelsea might have done the same. But, you know, we've made the knockouts of the Champions League more times than any other club, which is crazy when I heard that. So, you know, on one hand, you could say that's a lot of credit in the bank. But this past year, Real Madrid 5-1 on aggregate. Atletico Madrid 4-0, Bayern Munich 3-1, Inter Milan now 3-1 at the San Siro. We've built up enough of these games now to really be confident moving forward into the knockouts. But on this game in particular, Lyes, Inter are no slouches. They're not the same side they was last year, but they're top of Serie A, a bit more exposed defensively. But even their defensive record was the second best in the competition going into the game against us. But overall thoughts on the game, because from minute one, it just felt like what I saw from minute one is what I expected to see against Forest. Now, a lot of people will tell me the low block affects that, but I think a lot of what I saw against Inter was just a feeling of, hold on, we fucked up against Forest. Let's make sure we go show these men what we're about. There was a lot more emotion on that pitch in the first 10, 15 where we grabbed that goal and kind of dominated. But yeah, overall, what do you think, Lyes?
Yeah, I echo a lot about what you said, man. I think from minute one against Inter, there was a huge intent from Arsenal to really go out and make it 7 wins from 7. And I think there were moments where Inter made things interesting. I think there's one incident in particular where Sucic is leading a 3v1 counterattack, Thuram on one side, Lautaro on the other, and he makes completely the wrong decision. And maybe in that instance, they could have hurt you. There were little moments, but I always kind of felt like Arsenal were really in second gear. And if they ever needed to get into first gear, they were able to do it. And there were moments where they just killed off the game, right? In particular, the Gyokeres goal towards the end. So as much of a fight as Inter put, I just think that severe levels were shown. And I think it really speaks to Arsenal's depth this season that there are so many players they can bring in at any point in a game or even to start a game, and it doesn't really feel like the level is dropped. Like in this game in particular, you're looking at Eza coming in, you're looking at Marino, you're looking at Lewis Skelly, you're looking at Jesus. This is like Rice is not playing, Odegaard's not playing. These are big players that are missing from the team. Mosquera comes in. And in previous years of Arsenal, which is why I think for the most part, silverware has kind of just slipped from your grasp. I think a big part of that is injuries and then not having the required players coming off the bench to then replace them, right? And keep up the level. But this season, for me, the biggest example was against Bayern. I went to that game and the game was tight at one point, and then the substitutions that Arteta makes just kill off the game. Calafiori, Martinelli, they come on and change the game. And I think that's happened so many times. And tonight, or last night rather, was just the latest example of it. I think it probably speaks more this game to Inter and in terms of like frailties that they have. And I think they've done a poor job of really renewing the squad from last year's Champions League. I look at Sommer, and all credit to Gyokeres, but I think Sommer should probably do better of that instance. I think Acerbi is completely over the hill. I think there's still big question marks over the strike partnership of Thuram and Lautaro in terms of can they get it done on the biggest stages. I think that's a forever question that they have. But I think if you're looking at it from an Arsenal point of view, they continue to show, like you said, why alongside Bayern, they are the team to beat in the Champions League this season.
Yeah, I actually agree with you. Bayern is the one that I'm looking at with Musiala coming back into fray on top of the attack they have. Yeah. And, you know, although we beat them in the group stage, same thing with PSG last year. I look at them as this year's PSG in terms of they probably, you know, get seasoned along the season. James, you've heard Jordan, you've heard Lyes, a bit of me. What do you think? Because I know a lot of your family support Inter as well, so there's a bit of a close tie there.
Yeah, I was at the San Siro and we lost 1-0 a year ago. And I waited for years for this game because we hadn't played there since, I think, 2003, something like that, which was the 5-1 win, wasn't it? So, yeah, it was good to get one back on them. I mean, some headlines. I know, you know, we can maybe pick up on certain points as we go further into the Inter chat, but headlines for me, what an unbelievable campaign we've had in Europe. Like, it's been so unbelievably good, barely conceding a goal, demolishing Atletico, demolishing Bayern in that second half, making fairly light work of Inter Milan. And on that game, you know, we rotated. I'd argue 5 players in that starting 11 wouldn't start in our... If that were the Champions League final, I don't think 5 of those players would have started. But I think everyone who came in played their part. I thought Jesus was great. I thought Mosquera was brilliant. And for us to give that level in a game that might not have mattered loads to us, but certainly mattered to Inter, man. That was a big, big night for them. Last game of the San Siro of the league phase. Things really tight at that end of the table. I think that makes it 3 losses in a row now, I think, in the Champions League phase for them. So they would have needed a result. Now they go to Dortmund, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So as much as for us, it was, rotate, whatever happens. It was a big night for them. And for us to look that, I don't think we were in control. I think control suggests you've really locked down the opposition. And I think Lyes is right to flag that, like, they countered quite a few times. There was a lot of last-ditch defending. But
their goal was coming.
What's that?
Their goal was coming. In that little period, the goal was coming.
Yeah. Yeah, and the player who rose the most in that situation was Mosquera for me. Like his first start in 2 months. Man, he's so good for 13 million. He's unbelievable. Not for 13 million. We paid 50 million for him. I'd be saying the same thing. I rate him so highly. And you know what's just so unbelievably typical? Once this season, I feel the need to rant about the team post-Forest. Just one pod where I just wasn't in a particularly good mood. And I might have said that Gyokeres, Martinelli, they're not two of our more technical forwards, really. And then Martinelli plays like one of the best passes I've ever seen in my life. And then Gyokeres scores that goal. They're taking the piss out of me. So obviously I'm happy they did it. But I'm so glad you brought it up, Jordan. It was such a good pass. I agree with you on the finish. Like maybe, same with the Sucic or Sukic?
Sucic.
Same with that finish. Like, he wasn't quite in the corner, was it? But I don't think Ryan made a mistake. I think on first view, I was like, oh, what a goal. And then, yeah. But yeah, look, we look great. I'm glad you mentioned Eze, and he plays a kind of pass I don't think Erdogan would have. I agree with that. I think Jesus looked really bright. And it's not just because he scored 2 goals, because that could be an element of bias towards giving him a better rating for his performance. I think what I loved was, do you remember one moment in the second half where I think we pinged the ball down the line, and he had one of a Cherbil, Bastone, like big players, like right on him. And I'm thinking, I don't know how you're going to come out with this, but he just like used his strength to hold them off, takes a really delicate touch, looks after it, brings it back and keeps it moving. And I'm like, it's just little things that are like, oh, that's the old Jesus. When I'm thinking, no way you're going to come out of this with the ball, and he does. So it's really good to see. Arsenal were great. Echo everything on Arteta. We can hone in on whatever you want, really. I just thought it was just a great night in Europe. And actually, so I'll say one last thing. We'll go to Jordan.
Go on.
I know we won at the Bernabeu, and that was a huge moment for this club and this team and the belief what they could do. But I think this as well, it's not a bigger night. I'm not saying it's a bigger night, but I think this was different in the sense that we were super aggressive on the front foot. We went and imposed our football on a team. Now, this Inter Milan side aren't as good as that Real Madrid side. But I just think it was important for Arsenal to show that, or to know that they can show personality and be the protagonist in a game away from home in Europe. And I think that can carry them a long way as well.
We're looking like we belong. We're looking like we're a European team, that like, we're not looking like an Arsenal that we want to be on the big table. Please let us on the table. I know we don't want to chat. Please. No, we're looking like, we mean business this year. We're not going to make a big song and dance out about it. We're going to go to your ground and we're going to assert ourselves, actually play our football, and we're going to walk out with 3 points and on to the next. Rather than, I feel like 5 years ago, last night's result would have been a big deal. It'd have been like, whoa, we beat Inter. That's a big result. Beating Inter at Inter is always impressive. But there's been no fanfare from what I've heard off the back of it. And I think that's because we feel like that's what European champions should do. And if we want to be a European champion, you're meant to go to some of these prestigious, hardened, grounds, European heritage, and handle business. When you're on top, you got to handle. I wish we were a bit more ruthless in the Premier League. I wish we would start more assertive in the league. Let's bring some of this bullshiness that we've got across Europe. Can we bring it back home, please? I was going to ask a question.
I've got a theory on that. Oh, go on, Lyes. Sorry.
I was going to ask about that. I mean, maybe this is where your theory comes in, but this difference in almost like not mentality, right? But you almost have a different swagger, I feel like, when it comes in Europe this season. Do you think a bit of that comes down to the fact that in England, it almost feels, especially since you're kind of almost always playing after City, there's like a pressure to really put in a performance after City drop points. And it almost feels like every single result for Arsenal in the league at the moment feels so emotionally driven. Whereas in Europe, at the moment, you guys are just cruising, and because it's maybe the league phase as well too, you can play with a bit more freedom. You know what I mean? Do you guys take any creed in that theory, or?
I think teams respect us in the Premier League, so they don't try and play us.
Interesting.
I think, by the way, that was so rude of me. I interrupted Jordan and then pinged it to Lyes. I went,
Go interrupt Jordan if you want.
Yeah.
Give me the ball, let me play it. And then
I got a theory on that, Jordan. Lyes, what do you think, mate?
Yeah.
No, sorry. So my theory, that was so bad. Sorry. So my theory is we've just had three big away games: Chelsea, Forest, and Inter. We were super aggressive, super high press away at Chelsea and Inter, but we weren't at Forest. Now, maybe Forest don't allow you to do that. Chelsea and Inter are going to have a go. These guys aren't. Maybe
I'm even putting the Liverpool game in that period as well too. That's why I was thinking of the league.
Yeah.
The Liverpool game for me fell in that period.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I have a feeling, and I don't know, maybe this isn't fair on Arteta and the team. I have a feeling that whether it might go against everything we feel as fans, I have a feeling that they looked at Chelsea and went, go for it. Have a go. Just press them. Just see what you can do. There's always the Emirates. Inter Milan, go for it. Just press all those. Show what you're about. Play. Because you know what? We're top anyway, and it's Kairat next week. Whereas I think with Forest, there's an element of, guys,
don't give City a sniff.
A draw's okay. Like, and I know we don't look at it like that. And Lord knows I don't look at it like that because I just went off on one in the last pod. But from an Arsenal perspective, 7 points on the 21st of January ahead of a City who are getting battered in Bodo Glimt. Like, it's not a bad position to be in. And I think they play more with, if you can win it, great. Obviously, try be on the front foot, try create chances, but don't throw absolutely everything at it. Because the minute you go 1-0 down to a Callum Hudson-Odoi counter-attack, good luck trying to break them down. And then you're really feeling like you've missed an opportunity. Does anyone else sense that maybe there's a sense of, like, just being a bit more cautious in the league and just slowly ticking away with the points?
I was gonna say, from a United point of view, I remember the title races that we used to go in, and I think for you guys, maybe these draws to Forest maybe feel a bit more frustrating because, again, it does feel like, oh, you're desperate for that league title, right? But maybe I think if you weren't in that situation, if you had won the league last season, I think you'd be able to look at these results away to Forest in more of a level-headed way. Because I remember, from my own point of view as a United fan, under Sir Alex, it was really a case of win all your games at home for the most part. Don't lose away from home against the big sides. And then against sides like at the time Bolton away or Portsmouth away, don't lose, basically. Win all your home games, take care, protect your fort, and then see what you can get in other grounds. And it's not imperative that you win because at the end of the day, you'll finish with 85 to 90 or so points. So I think that's really the mentality as United fans that we always used to have at the time. And I think a big part of the Arsenal maybe breakdown amongst the fan base when results like this happen is because it's like 3 years of kind of like, you almost get a little bit of PTSD. I mean, that's how I kind of feel from the outside looking at it.
I just wanted to go back to. Sorry, go on, Turkish. Go on.
No, it is PTSD. I mean, he got it bang on. I think what James said about the cautiousness is that, but that is also, the approach we went with in 23-24 that unfortunately, unluckily, let us down in that one game. But we was going up against a juggernaut. Now we're not up against that juggernaut. So the day after we drop points, I brush it off and I say, listen, we was 2 points away. Now we're 7 points away. But really, there's something in the back of my mind saying it should be 11. But I'm still confident we're going to do it. So you just put that to the side. Villa win and drop points. It remains 7. And you just look at the positive, because we are in a very positive space at this moment in time. Whichever way you look at it, if you take yourself away from that 90-minute result, and I saw a lot of comments moaning about our analysis last show, but people need to understand, we talk about the most recent game. So if we've lost or drawn the most recent game, we can't skip the most recent and go to the win before, like Jordan likes to do sometimes on this show, because it's not normal. So you have to talk about the 90 minutes you've just seen. And if we've drawn or dropped points against a team we should be beating, the tone is going to be a bit different, like the tone is very different on this one. On this one, I could mention how close Arteta is to greatness. I could bring up like people like Lionel Messi voting for him in terms of manager of the year. He hasn't won anything yet, but he's this close from taking us over the line and also putting himself into a position where you look around Europe and the lack of real quality managers are about. rubber stamping our position now. It's about winning something and putting ourselves on the map in this Arteta era, because we're not on the map yet. But the moment we get on that map, I think we've got an enjoyable 5 years ahead of us, Jordan.
Yeah. Just wanted to go back to James's point about how impressive our campaign has been this year in Europe, because, and you guys might know this, but you probably won't off the top of your heads. So maybe one for the comments. But has any team in the Champions League had a harder batch of fixtures than us
this year?
Mm.
There was one. Is it? I'd have to go, because I remember at the start of the campaign, I was looking at everyone's fixture list and trying to like rank who had the toughest ones. And you guys definitely had some tough fixtures, but
yeah,
I'm just thinking Bayern.
I think Barcelona, was it them who had Chelsea away, Newcastle away, PSG? I think they had a few tough ones as well too. But you guys have gone through some tough sides.
I mean, but Bayern, the best team in Europe at the time, Inter away, Atletico Madrid. There's one more. Inter.
You just mentioned
yeah.
Inter. I don't know if anybody had harder 4 fixtures than that, but just to kind of really
Bayern, Atletico, Inter, and who?
It might just be those 3. There was another side I remember at the start. I can't remember.
Club Bruges, man. Just put Club
Inter
Bruges in it, man.
and Inter. We had Inter as well.
we
had Milan.
Big one. We had Atletico. Then we had Inter. Man. No, but do you know what? I like Slavia Prague way tricky, man. But yeah, yeah. No, I get you. We've had a tough run. We've had a tough run. We've had to negotiate that in, some of the difficult first half of the season. I think our first half of the season, with a lot of the away trips we got, was harder than the second half, in my opinion. The big question for the second half is the pressure element. So interesting hearing Lyes talk about from a Man United fan's perspective. Sometimes I hear Big Steve on the Big Six as well, and he'll say, "Look, I've been there. A bad result, whatever, you brush it off." And we're sort of sat there sweating because we didn't beat the champions, right? And then
it's easy to say that from a Palace. Do you get? And that's what it's been for City. He's 100%. Not wrong, but trust me, you're seeing videos and comments come out now about, I love him, but is it the end of the road? Is it the beginning of the end? Because now the blips in that City journey, this is the 3rd blip. There was that one last season, there was the one at the beginning of this season, and there's the one mid-season now. So as much as, at one time Steve can say, you have to take it on the chin and keep on believing, we ain't won the league in 21 years. We've bottled a couple along the way. So it's hard to believe, like, the man that won 4 in a row and treble and 7 in 10 and Pep Guardiola. I'd probably believe too if you give me all of that.
All right, true. But what about that's what I think Thierry on. Oh, go on, Lyes. Go on.
I was just gonna say, personally, I felt like the Liverpool result was worse than the Forest one from the outside looking in. I felt that one was like, ooh, the performance as well too. That one you guys had to win, in my opinion. Forest, the way teams slip up there.
Yeah,
you're right. And actually, James, just to go back to you was about to mention Thierry Henry, and I'm glad you're bringing that segment up, because he's often attributed to comments that people imply as pressure on Mikel. Pressure. He doesn't like him. He's jealous of his job. Henry loves this football club, and when I see those sort of comments, like I mute. I just mute, because you can't be Arsenal if you're doubting what Thierry thinks and what's behind the thought process. You might not agree with what comes out, but understand behind the thought process is a legend that put us on the map in terms of that level, in terms of, where Kroenke brought us from. He can say what he wants, but finally he said something that we can all align on: the pessimist, the optimist, the ones in between. But James, you were about to mention it.
No, but everything you just said there, like, you're right. He is someone who Arsenal fans, some have got weirdly kind of. I do love our fan base. I know we get a bit of a hard time for our online fan base, but there have been some weird trends, like turning on Ian Wright because he suggested Saka could play left wing back, and that was
bizarre. Oh,
remember that?
And the world hated him, and it was like, what's going on here? And Henry, he never got that kind of heat, but there was definitely criticism for the way he spoke, and maybe because he publicly backed Daniel Ek, and that was seen as kind of the anti-project and all that. You're right, though. Thierry Henry fundamentally just wants to win games, and I really enjoyed that he basically came out and said, cool, it could be 9, it could be 11, but guys, it's 7, and that's a really good position. And it's probably unrealistic to have expected it to have been much more than that. And when you look at the league, you know, it's something I started to clock post our recording of the Forest pod. And, you know, I wish I'd sort of had this thought before I was hungover off 4-hour sleep. But, you know, more 0-0s in this Premier League season than we had in the whole of last season. And it's the 21st of January. Now, at what point do we start looking at the league around us and going, we have problems in attack, but it's tough to score goals. And what, then we just magically go to Inter and face Bayern and face Atletico, meant to be a stubborn team, and we just slap goals past them. Like, at what point do we just look at the environment of the Premier League? And there's a great list that did the rounds. I read it out on a video I did. I saw a tweet. It was that Anthony Gordon hadn't scored a league goal from open play in over a year. Can you believe that? And then the list of players, and I love your take on this, Lyes, who are struggling at the moment in Europe. I don't know if you've seen it. Doku, Saka, Palmer, Foden, Savinho, Martinelli, Neto, Garnacho, Madueke, Eze, Sesko, Gyokeres, Isak, albeit pre-injury, João Pedro, Voltemada, Elanga. All those players could be deemed lacking in output to a degree or not playing their best football. At what point do we go, and this is a lesson for me too, maybe Martinelli looks great in Europe because it suits him more. And in the Premier League, he's struggling where a whole heap of wingers and players and forwards are struggling to have an impact. I don't know. What do you guys make of that? Do you think we need to readjust how we look at it a bit?
For me personally, this just speaks to a larger issue, which is, I think, when you look at the quality of the class of attackers in Europe right now, I don't personally, people can say, oh, the game it's evening out or whatever. I just don't think the elite level of attackers anymore is what it was 10 years ago, personally. And I think it kind of speaks, even in the names that we're talking about here. That's just the way I kind of look at it. But you're right. When you look across Europe, right? Like it's not like guys in Serie A are doing much better when they get to this stage. It's not like guys in the Bundesliga are ripping it up as well too. So I think to be honest with you, it's a footballing issue. I think, not just.
Sorry, James. Do you want to come back in this? I want to.
I think that's a really fair point. I mean, there's not many on that list that I'm like, oh yeah, I'll take him. Although Garnacho's struggling. Like, do you know what I mean?
So
somebody scored twice against us. So there you go.
So somebody sent me a video yesterday, right? A reel, and it was of Van Persie's son, Van der Vaart's son, Ibrahimovic's son, and another Dutch player son, Schneider's son. They're all playing for like first team teams, mainly in Holland, but a couple other places as well.
Don't sign Van Persie's son.
He looks baller, though. You see that bicycle kick he scored the other day?
I saw it, but don't sign him, man. You know, that trait about it runs in the family.
You sign him, we'll just take him off you at the end. Don't worry.
And Percy said the little boy screamed for it. Take that little boy. Forget screaming.
He was the little boy.
He's got beef with Van Persie's son. He wants to get in the way of Van Persie's son's career because of a decision his dad made. Unbelievable.
I'll be Van Persie out if he comes.
He actually scored 2 bad boy goals in that game as well. They still lost. But yeah, anyway. My first thinking was, oh, that's really cool. Some real ballers from yesteryear, their sons are coming through. But kind of to Leo's point, and then I thought, is system football just churning out the same types of attackers? And is that maybe part of the reason why across Europe we're just not producing freestyle, think for themselves, independent attackers that are different? A lot of attackers across Europe now, they all look the same. And I don't mean physically, I mean how they play. And I just wonder if you're getting all these talented young players across all academies, across all clubs, but the systems now are just churning out system players. I mean, I was thinking the other day, how many ballers in terms of what I call a baller, are there in the Premier League? I can think of like a handful. And I think it's a wider conversation we have about Eze at another time. But I'm really concerned about what we might do to Eze. Because Eze is a baller. Whether you think he's elite or not, it's a different discussion. But he's, for me, a baller. And I don't think we're going to see the best out of him because Mikel Arteta might win back-to-back Premier League titles with talented players but conforming to systems. It was said about Martinelli a couple of years ago. Oh, the reason why he's fell off is because he's lost that rawness that he came in with. I dismissed it at the time. There might be something to do with that. So just to Leo's point about the kind of landscape of attackers generally, who's good? Who's really like, oh yeah, he's a problem. Everyone's got man over Shirky. Shirky's a baller. You can see he's a baller, but for me, I'm one more season away from thinking that he might be a show pony. The man that can score goal a season 1 week and then do nothing for 6. Garnacho, worldy goal 1 week, missing for 2 months. That's not a player that I want anywhere near my team. I don't care. So my point is that I think Lyes is right. I think it's a European-wide thing with attackers to just broaden it even beyond James' list.
Football. Look at Brazil national team.
There you go.
You know the Brazil team I grew up on, to see what they're bringing out now and wheeling out now.
Talk the thing.
My God.
Richarlison and Igor Thiago could be leading their line at the World Cup.
Brother, like,
That's
what are we doing here?
That's why for me though, Yamal is the best player in the world, if you ask me, right? Because I think he just perfectly brings everything together. Or even if you want to look at an Mbappe, but you're right. For me, they're some people will say I'm nostalgic. Some people will say we're all nostalgic, right? But I think personally, your eyes don't lie to you, and I think this is just what the game is now. I think that's really what it is now. It's a totally different game to the one that we were watching 10 years ago. 15 years ago.
So you think the 07-08 United team beat us, right?
Yeah, I do.
No, I'm playing. I don't know how that's gone the way it's gone, because it's crazy. I'm seeing Saeed bring up videos with that thumbnail, like. Yeah.
But yo, what's Walcott doing though at the same time, man? Honestly, in one breath, he's saying we were the best team he ever played, which surprised me because he played against Barca with Messi. It surprised me he said that. But then he's like, "This is the best team I ever played against." You think they beat this current Arsenal? I was like,
Lyes,
you're excited.
You're very.
Walcott seems like a really nice guy. To be fair, I think I've met him once.
Yeah.
He seems cool. Later on that night, he asked Arteta whether he would get in this Arsenal team, and then quickly went, "Would I get in?" And I think Arteta kind of went.
And then he looked at Rooney. He said he would though.
Yeah. When Walcott asked, Arteta was like, some minutes, and he was like, he will get in. To Rooney, he will get in.
Killed him.
That was fair though, because with him and Walcott, it's true. You man would get minutes in this team, but Rooney is different. Like, so Arteta kept it 100.
Really, we'd have walked the title, Rooney.
Yeah. If Rooney was in if you guys had Rooney, oh my God, you guys would walk the treble, man. That guy was so good. But that bro, I got him in my background as well too. That's my guy. But I was gonna say, for me though, that conversation, I know it's tongue in cheek, right? But I just feel like in moments like this, you got to let this Arsenal team do what they're doing. You got to let them win their titles, let them build their own legacy. Then at the end of the day, in 5 years, you look back with a glass of wine, with a cigar, and you go compare them to the great teams if they've done all that. But to compare a team that won the Champions League and 3 Prems in a row to a side that hasn't won anything yet of note, for me, it was like, come on, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I hate those chats so much, man. Sorry, I hate because I'm like, I didn't ask for this conversation.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Like, we haven't won a title and I'm fending off United fans like over their double winning side who won
Ronaldo, Tevez, Rooney, and I'm just like, right.
And do you know why I hate it? Because I want to just go, yeah, no, nonsense, like, don't worry. But I'm also like, I think in 5 years there will be certain Arsenal players that I want to put in certain conversations, but I couldn't dare do it. I can't dare do it until we've at least lifted. I'm not talking one. We need to lift a few things, man, before we can even start to. But like, if people can't say that Saliba and Gabriel aren't performing at a level in which, if the honours come, multiple, that they're not in some conversations, fine. But like, this conversation is brought to me, and I have to shamelessly just sit there being like, "Oh, I rate these players, but no thanks. I don't want to talk about this." It's like, it's painful.
Jordan, you was going to say something.
Yeah, just my last point on this game, going back to the game, and I guess it ties into, if we want to talk about Gyokeres and his goal. I loved Jesus in his post-match interview. He spoke about the togetherness and yada yada, but I loved how he was bigging up Gyokeres. I love the fact that he's like, look, I think Gabby asked him, I think Gabby Logan asked him, so game on the weekend, but to start, he's like, yo, of course I want to start, but Gyokeres scored a good goal today, and he wants to start. Havertz is now fully fit, don't rule him out. And I just love the fact that the players seem to he seemed to respect Gyokeres. And I think, even though my thoughts on Gyokeres, right? But the players, they seem to really want him to do well. And even though they can recognize he's struggling, Arsenal put out a video on behind the scenes video of training a couple of days ago, just finishing practice. It's like, Eze, clean finish. Saka, clean finish. Who else? There was another player. Somebody else, clean finish. Gyokeres, ball bounces, hits it. But I'm like, bro, why would you put that out? And it's training. They might have not caught 10 other clean strikes, but the couple that weren't looking good, you put out is mad. But the point is that the players, they seem to be backing him. They seem to respect him. He's not my guy. But the players, even these competition, the other strikers, there seems to be a healthy respect of, yo, of course I want to play, but respect my man too. And I even though I don't rate him, I like that they do, and they're not going to throw him under the bus. I like that.
Winning cures everything, though. At the same time, I think winning cures everything. Everyone is happy when you win. You're always happy to come off the bench for a winning team. I think if Arsenal weren't as successful, I'm not sure Gabriel Jesus gives that same answer, to be honest.
Nah. We'll be under pressure. But I think you could link both last points, like what Lyes said about the state of football and going into Gyokeres. Obviously, the news, the the stats coming out of it is that behind Ekitike, he's a goal behind, and no other attacker has scored 9 goals, which puts Gyokeres. But again, you could say state of football, but it's just football is chess pieces now. It's like a deck of cards with no jokers. When you take the jokers out, it's the deck of cards. What are you gonna do with them? There ain't no jokers, there ain't no wild card. That's what football is now. But Gyokeres has gone from he's only scored against Leeds and so on to now Atletico Madrid, Chelsea away, Inter Milan away. He needs to kick on now, and he smiled. He did smile, Jordan. I don't know if you saw the smile, but he did bring that out, and he gave Saka an extra hug as well, because reports about some unrest there and nonsense across the week. But he needed that finish. He needed a new platform for me to kick on, right? And I think that's a new platform now. You've come off the bench against Inter Milan away from home. Firstly, I want to talk about his touch, because his touch is often laughed about. His touch for the Martinelli pass was beautiful. First touch, chest across the defender, and he takes his run across and essentially takes him out of the game. His pass was actually decent. No, it wasn't. It wasn't poor. It was decent. I'm joking. It wasn't great. It was decent. On another day, Saka takes it in his stride. He didn't. But Gyokeres quickly followed up, and it wasn't the cleanest of finishes in terms of how Sucic just buried it, but it was a finish. Yeah, it was a finish, and I think he needed that. And you could see that goal probably meant more to him than any of the other goals he scored this season, because 1, where it is, who it's against; 2, after all the pressure; and 3, it's his best goal in an Arsenal shirt. So now he needs to kick on, in my opinion, and show a bit more of that. Show a bit more of, if I get a sniff, let me eat, because I'm not going to get many sniffs in the game.
So before Lyes and James come back in, quickly for me, the reaction to his goal last night, to his reaction against Chelsea, was quite telling as well. And I heard a theory today, somebody was saying to me, they think that he was almost embarrassed for the Chelsea goal. I was a tap in, the keeper's fumbled it. I kind of have to put that in. I can't take too much praise for that one. Whereas this one, he roared like, yeah, I'm at the San Siro. Yeah, I've ended this game. Big boy strike. This is what I'm about. Do you know what I mean? And the reaction, I think, to his pride in the kind of goals he scores, in the games he scores them in the circumstances, I thought was quite telling as well. Yeah. It felt like he was a little bit embarrassed to score that goal for Bridge.
Yeah, but I hear it though. You know when you're under pressure and you need a goal, of course you put that in the back of the net, but it doesn't feel like that's the goal, because it's on a plate. And, it just feels a bit different to what he done last night against Inter, because that is a proper striker's goal out of nowhere. And I still think he was quite subdued in his celebration. I think he could have done a knee slide. He could have added everything to it. But I feel like at the same time, I like that part of him. I like that the Chelsea goal, he might have felt a bit embarrassed about celebrating that because it's a tap-in, because he expects more. If he scored that goal and went mad, I would have been like, yo, take it easy a bit. Like, I remember,
act like you've been here before.
It was a mistake.
Obba's a different player to him, completely different level, right? But I remember when Obba scored that goal in the Europa League and brought out the mask, I was like, brother, this is Europa League, man. Don't ever bring the mask out again in this competition.
I've got props.
Yeah, don't do this, man. Don't do. We want Champions League. We want to be back there. You're bringing out a Black Panther in Europa League. So I like when players are, they know, how to handle the moment.
Did you see that clip like 2 days ago? I think did João Felix play for Al Nassr?
Yeah.
I think he did something good. Ball's deflected and it's basically over the line. And Ronaldo runs up to it, tries to prod it, quite clearly doesn't get it, runs off and does a bit of a sue, and then points to Joao Felix. I'm like,
I saw that. I saw that.
okay.
You see
I mean, I
the
guess if
one-
anyone's earned the right to do it, it's Cristiano. But
He'll claim anything. Remember the World Cup a few years back against Ghana? Didn't even hit his head, and he's running off celebrating. Come on, man.
He wants that
The funniest one was this week, Kairat. If you've seen the guy who's playing for Kairat, they were down 4-0 or something like that.
No.
And I think he grabbed the consolation goal to make it 4-1. He took off his shirt and did the Lionel Messi with it.
No,
they like never score. They're down 4-1. I'm like, yo, I understand being happy, right? It's like when San Marino score a goal. But to put your shirt up like you're the guy, like
remember the name.
no, that's elite.
I'm gonna watch the highlights of Kyra after this.
I hope they do that at the Emirates. I'm not gonna lie.
He's a legend. I swear Enzo Fernandez did that in a Carabao Cup game for Chelsea as well.
He did.
And I was looking at him like, brother, you've won World Cup. This is fucking League Cup. What are you
These
doing?
guys all live in TikTok edits now, bro. It's like Brahim Diaz, bro. They all think they're in a little TikTok edit. Like,
yeah.
Well, I think we touched on it last week, but my favourite was when Harry Maguire, who got like ripped by Roy Keane, wasn't playing well at United, scored for England in like a random game. But not only does he do this, he then did this. So it's like,
and he'd
are
slide.
you hearing the noise? Are you shutting it out? I'm confused.
He's two jokes, man.
And he's sliding the whole way. He's just.
It was like a friendly, but it was like a friendly or like a qualifier.
It was a friendly.
And I swear they asked Roy Keane after, and he was like, embarrassing. That's what he said.
Good job.
I mean, let's move on to United. Like, hype, subscribe, people. But I think natural transition here. Keane has been not quite vocal about Carrick, but it seems like there's something, there, or the media are kind of, leaning into something being there because Keane wasn't impressed with the appointment. But Lyes, big Man United fan, gone through the mud for quite a number of years now, random managers quite a number of years now. Carrick returns with a bang as well. A big win against Manchester City. Derby, it's always big when you beat them. How do you feel about where Man United are right now? Obviously, if I asked you this 2 weeks ago, if Amorim's still in charge, it's very easy to say, bro, don't ask me that question. But now, I mean, I guess there's a future in your sights. I mean, are you any more confident about getting out of this rut now, or is it going to be a roller coaster ride until the end of the season?
Football's a funny sport, man. Seriously. Like, honestly, you can feel like you're in hell and then win a result and all of a sudden everything is good again and everyone is back. That's honestly, like, I try not to overreact to things, but honestly, that game against City was so unexpected and so euphoric that honestly, this entire week I've just been like sat back just smiling at random points. I think I've watched the highlights about 17 times. Like I've watched how many explainer videos on YouTube, how Carrick outmastered Pep Guardiola. I'm like in love with Man United again, seriously, because you're right. If you had asked me maybe 2-3 weeks ago where my head was at, where Man United season was looking, it was bleak for me, right? I think Ruben Amorim was almost asking for the sack at times in his last few weeks at the club. And he ultimately got what he wanted after that draw to Leeds. And then Darren Fletcher came in for 2 games and failed to beat Burnley and Brighton's B team. And I went into the City game, feeling for Carrick, but also really expecting the worst because it had been 4 games in a row without a win to that point. And then City and Arsenal coming up. And you can't really think of 2 more difficult games for any manager to kind of come in with limited time on the training pitch and really tackle. For me, I actually made a video when Carrick got appointed and said, guys, as a fan base, I think we need to unite, look at the next 2 games, City and Arsenal, and just draw a line in the sand after them and say, okay, Carrick's tenure starts after that. I had little to no expectation, but that game against City, it wasn't just the win, it was the manner in which we really just tactically showed up so well. And for Carrick to put in that kind of coaching performance in 3 days, he took over on Monday, but really met with the team on Wednesday to come up with a game plan to beat Pep Guardiola's City, despite the injuries and everything, but in the manner they did it, is so impressive. And now brings us into the Arsenal game where, to be honest with you guys, I look at it as a bit of a free hit for Man United. I think that game against City was so big and the mood around the fan base is so high that I think even if we were to lose to Arsenal, because we got that win against City that no one expected, we can kind of look now after that and look at Fulham and Spurs and West Ham and say, okay, these are games we really need to win. But going away to Arsenal, who haven't lost at home since May, there's really no pressure here. And if anything, maybe there's pressure on Arsenal, who have dropped the 2 previous games, and they need to really reaffirm themselves back in as the title contenders. So Yeah, man, it's a great time at the moment to support United, which 2 weeks ago I never would have said. But as I said, that's what one result can kind of do for you.
Lyes, can I ask you about the pundits? The whole
Yeah.
like the Roy Keane thing, obviously Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes. Like I know it's not like really key to the whole Arsenal Man United thing, but we were sort of talking about Henry having been quite a little pessimistic at times before coming out with these comments more recently. How do you kind of take what a lot of the pundits have been saying in the media? Neville too at times, getting onto Sesko, things like that. Like I don't know. What do you think?
Look, I think I kind of sit where Henry sits in this instance, right? If Henry feels like the club aren't, or the team aren't performing, or they're underwhelming and they're not hitting their objectives, he's a pundit first and foremost, but also he's a fan. He's allowed an opinion, and his opinion holds a lot more stock because he is Thierry Henry, of course. But he's not going to lie on TV now and pretend that if Arsenal lose 3 games in a row, everything's rosy. I think criticism from ex-players is fine within reason, right? Obviously, don't hammer guys, but I think if the team's underperforming, why would they pretend to make things look out better than they are just because they used to play for the club? I think the line kind of gets crossed when you start getting personal. And up to this past week, I really had no issue with what Gary Neville was saying or what Scholes was saying about Amorim. I really didn't have an issue because I didn't feel like it got personal. But I think this past week, Roy Keane's comments on Michael Carrick are personal for me. And this whole thing between Roy Keane and Carrick goes back years. And I don't know this for a fact, but my theory is I think Roy Keane holds a certain bitterness to Michael Carrick because Carrick was the man tasked with replacing him when he first left the club. And the reality is United didn't really skip a beat when Carrick came in. They won 3 Premier Leagues in a row. They won 5 in 4 years or whatever. In fact, they got even better. Not to say that he's a better player than Keane, but I think he never liked the way he left the club in the first place. And I almost think he looks at Carrick in a very bitter way. And I think a large part of the criticism towards him before he even coached the game comes from that. And then you get to Scholes and Nicky Butt, who again, when they criticize the side from an analytical point of view, no problem. That's their job. But when you start making comments about Lisandro Martinez and Haaland is going to pick him up and ragdoll him and carry him around like he's a little boy. And then when Lisandro proves you wrong and you almost double down on it and say like, well, if you play for Man United, you should expect that. That's for me where it starts getting a little personal. And I think as a United ex-player and United legends of that as well too, I think you hold a certain level of responsibility to not really throw current members of the team under the bus. And I feel like over the last week or so, it has kind of gone from just criticism from an analytical point of view to really you're taking shots from a personal point of view. Like if I was Lisandro Martinez and I hear that, I'm thinking, do we have a personal problem here? So I think that's where I stand on the whole
thing. Didn't he say meet me in the car park?
I think Lisandro, to be honest, he said something like, they never say anything when I see them in person. I'd love for him to say it to my face, basically.
Yeah, he said, come to my house.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Come to my house and say it, basically. Yeah. And to be honest with you, I hear it. Like, Paul Scholes is a legend. Paul Scholes is one of my favorite players of all time to play for Man United. But how are you saying that about Lisandro? Especially when Lisandro against Haaland has played him numerous times, and bar one game where Haaland went berserk, he's kept him in check for the most part. Like, if I would actually challenge you guys, do you watch many Lisandro games where you actually see him physically dominated? If anything, I actually think he reads the game quite well to almost avoid ever being put in those situations. I actually feel Martinez struggles really in open space where he's asked to like run and he has got small legs. But in terms of physical, like getting physically outnumbered or physically outdueled by someone, I never really find that Lisandro gets like bodied by Haaland or bodied by Igor. I don't find that at all, to be honest.
Jordan, they want to see you laugh, man. The people want to see you laugh. What's
wrong? What I mean? Like, no, but seriously though, Jordan, have you ever seen Lisandro just get like bodied by someone, right? Like he got small legs.
He's got small legs.
Small legs.
He does. That for me is like he's not good in open space.
That's worse than gold.
Next match.
Next match. Sure, I'm allowed to say that, right? Turkish, I'm allowed to say that.
No, 100% you're allowed, but Lisandro's also allowed to call you to his house after the next game if he pulls that out. So.
But you know what it is? And you know what? That's fair. Honestly, I probably did go personal there, but I'm not Paul Scholes. I'm not Nicky Butt. You know what I mean? So I can say shit like that. Probably shouldn't, but like Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes should definitely not be saying stuff like that.
No, I'm joking, man.
Do you know my biggest issue with it? Right, the United pundits. I'm with you, Lyes. If you're not happy with what you're seeing at Man United, they can call it out. There's no problem with that. My issues are just give us better analysis, please. Like for everything you guys have achieved, like you're so right. Lisandro Martinez, bar I think maybe one game, has largely had really good games against Erling Haaland. And like has shown he can mix it up. Like he's a centre back that has, you know, beaten a physical Newcastle side in the Carabao Cup final, and you know, had Derby Day wins against Erling Haaland. That wasn't his first. Won an FA Cup final against Erling Haaland. He did play in that run, right? I think.
Yeah, he was unbelievable in that final as well too.
So it's just as much as it's personal, which I agree, which is poor in itself. It's just bad analysis, and like I find Roy Keane very entertaining to listen to, and I do like his insight. And sometimes football is simple and should be looked at it through the way he looks at it. I'm not saying he looks at it simply, but I'm just saying he likes to dumb it down to the fundamentals, doesn't he, in his analysis, which I like. But sometimes, can we get a bit more than just passion, run hard, desire? Like, you got Michael Carrick, who, like, this guy in his own right has achieved a lot at Manchester United. Yeah. This guy in his own right has won the biggest trophies and played for some of the best teams, and is one of the more intelligent midfielders you've had, and has actually, unlike some others, gone on to do pretty well in management. And by the way, that's not a shot at anyone. Roy Keane, I think, did well with Sunderland, whatever. But like, there's some weight to Carrick as a player, as a representative of Manchester United, and potentially as a coach. So like, the negativity was so strange to me, because I understood it during the Amorim era and during a lot of dark times, but the timing of it was so strange. I was like, this is like, there's a potential of some promise here. And while I ultimately, you were playing City, so I was happy you won, and more often than not, I want, you know, bad for Manchester United. I was quite happy for you guys that, and for Carrick, that he got that level of performance and tune out the team, because I think it vindicated so many people on Amorim. And I think it was a little bit of a like, can you all shut up to the noise around? And I was quite happy for him on that.
Yeah, 100%. And to speak on the Roy Keane thing with Michael Carrick, even more so to show it's personal, Roy Keane never said a bad word about Ollie. When he got hired, when he got the full-time job, when he was losing games, it's always about Ollie's a great guy. Back him. Yeah, bro, he backed. In fact, all the ex-players backed Ollie, right? No problem. That's their friend. To a point, I thought, well, we can't ask you guys to even speak about him because you're not objective here. But it just showed that with Carrick, he gave him no grace whatsoever. So for me, I think it's way more deep-rooted than that. But even on Roy Keane's comments on Fergie recently, right? To say Fergie is hanging around the club like a bad smell. You see him in the stadium. Again, this is just personal from Roy Keane. So I like Roy Keane too. I think he's so funny on TV. And I agree with you. I think there's definitely points where we look at the game from too much of a tactical point of view. And sometimes it is the bit of the intangibles. That's what made Roy Keane one of the best midfielders of his generation. But sometimes he just takes it to a point where it's like, this isn't helpful for anyone. It's just bitterness from you.
But this is the commercialization of the spoken word, because now those two guys have got a podcast, Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes. They now have to say things, and I think it came out this week that Nicky Butt and Paul Scholes soon to have signed a deal with some production house company that make content. So I don't know if the timing is a coincidence that they're now saying these really punchy, cut through headline type lines, because we're chatting about it now, or if it's just the way they are. But I think they've all recognized now that to stay relevant, to make money, to push your product, you've got to put something out there that's maybe a little bit below the line, below the belt, sorry, or over the line to be out there. That's what you've got to do. Now, I think it demeans who you are. If that's not who you really are, then don't fake it. Don't be it. With Roy Keane, you get the impression when he talks and he gets personal, you get the impression that he means that. Whether he's right or wrong, different discussion, but he means it. When some of the others say it, I'm like, do you really mean that, or are you just saying that because you want a clip?
I think a heavy part of it as well, and it might sound like I'm defending here, not necessarily the raspy personal comments, because Keane is known to hold a bit of a grudge, that, you know.
Definitely.
But that era, and I come from that era too. Like, if I was to compare myself to Lyes or James, I can't do what Lyes or James do. Tactically, like, my understanding of it all isn't up to scratch like Lyes and James, because I come from an era where heart, passion, desire gets you a long way, and they also come from that era. But when people listen to that perspective of heart, passion, desire, less tactics in this era, it comes across very niche. Oh, he's out there. Oh, he's, you know. But I also think that's part of their character, part of where they've come from as well. So at times you take it, like Henry, we mentioned Henry getting slated for a lot of comments. Petit as well. Petit over the years. But when we were in the mud, I loved what Henry and Petit were saying. I was looking at people like Perez working for the club thinking, hold on, brother. You're working for this club that's dragging us through the mud, but you're not saying it. So I respected that opinion more, but then there's a balance to it. When things get personal, that's what I'm not agreeing with. I'm not, you know, backing, but I am.
I feel the same way, Turkish. I feel the same way, bro. 100%.
And you need that. I think slowly but surely we're losing naturally that era of person character. So in 20 years, I think football commentary, football punditry is going to be very technical, tactical, but quite flaccid in that there isn't emotion there. It's very much, you know, computer based. So I think we've got to appreciate some of the old heads talking too, and understand they come from an era where, you know, in that era.
I don't know, you know, I think maybe the opposite. I think we might be going to an era the next 5-10 years where you just get more ex-players just not having the analytical brain to break down a game, and all they have is hot takes. My fear is that you might get more of this.
Yeah, but you're talking about the Jamie O'Hara's now, and that if we're talking top tier footballers, I don't think they need to do the whole chasing the clicks thing. I just think
there are many. There are many that can have an analytical football tactical brain. I don't have it, but there's not many ex-players that you listen to and think, okay, you've really opened up the game there and explained what's happened or what should happen or what the manager did. There's not many of those guys out there. So I fear.
I think Henry's transitioned well in terms of you can see from when he first started, there was a lot of heart, desire, passion-based analysis. But as he became a manager, coaching, and then the punditry stuff, you can see now that I love a breakdown with Henry now. You know, and at the start, I didn't care about his breakdowns. I cared about, you know, what he has to say. Now he's a lot more, you know, well-oiled in terms of punditry.
Well, Turkish,
I wish we got more. Go ahead, James. My fault.
No, sorry, no, go, Leo, go.
I was just, I wish I completely agree about Henry, right? I love when Henry really breaks down the intricacies of a goal. Or like, for example, I remember he was breaking down the Gyokeres kind of run against, who was it earlier in the Champions League, where he was through and he was breaking down every single one of his touches and how he should have broken through. And I'm like, this is what I want to hear from the best to ever do it, right? Like there's no way. I have aspirations one day of being on TV and talking about football, but I know I have no experience in certain situations that Thierry Henry does. And that's why I want to hear the best players, or even players who weren't the best, but they're professional levels, break down the craft for me. That's why sometimes with the heart, passion, desire thing, it's like, okay, we get it, but what would you have done differently in that instance? That's where I really love to see ex-players kind of get in their bag.
100%. If you've got an ex-professional footballer who's won it all, I need something that's like, I could never, ever know that. And I could never. And to a degree, I'm a hypocrite because I've also never been a coach. I've never actually studied analysis. But I try to talk about that side of the game. So, but there's just something they can give you as ex-pros that is just like, we wouldn't even attempt to try and explain certain things because they give you analysis on another level and at their best. But you know, Turkish, I think you're right. I think sometimes a lot of this Arsenal team at the moment are heart, passion, desire, running, being physical, all the things that, like, you know, maybe the stats merchants like don't necessarily love. Like, I think we've got a lot of that, a lot of the stuff that I think Roy Keane would profess to love. I've got no problem with that type of punditry. I just want it to be accurate and correct. And I know that's an opinion, but when I'm hearing Paul Scholes on a podcast say, I'm just not sure Arsenal win enough big games, I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like really? That's it's like the one thing we're good at. Look at all the years where we haven't got over the line. The one thing we've done brilliantly is not lose to our rivals and actually beat a lot of them. I don't think City have beaten us in the last 6. You know, it's just little things like that it's like,
these man, when I hear stuff like that, I just caveat it with, these men hate Arsenal. They grew up in an era where Arsenal was the rival. So everything is tinged in a bit of, because when we was going through the muds, and I was observing Man United still challenging, Chelsea still challenging, I really didn't watch you know, the football as much as I used to when Arsenal were, you know, at the top end, because I love Arsenal first and foremost. So when it kind of tailed off to the rest of them, it just felt very different.
To be fair, sorry, I know you're going to move on, but to be fair to Paul Scholes, I think I've heard him say that as well, James. But what he actually says is, Arsenal haven't won a big game when it matters. That's what I've heard him say. So what he's not, I don't want to talk on his behalf. I'm not his lawyer. I'm not his guy. But I don't think he's talking about Arsenal beating Manchester City or beating a Chelsea. I think he's saying the Etihad 2 years ago, that's a big game. He's saying PSG in the semi-final of the Champions League, that's a big game.
Oh, no.
He's saying Aston Villa in the title run-in, when it really matters, you got a chance to go and take the league, that's a big game. So I think what I've heard him, what I have heard him say is, Arsenal haven't won a big game when it matters. And you can argue the game against the big game they won against City in September. That matters. That's 3 points that adds to where you've ended up getting. So you can look at it both ways. But I'm just trying to.
I hear that. I'm not saying we're perfect in them. It's just then I can throw you the Bernabeu. Like, what? That didn't matter. Like, and then in the run-in, when we had the toughest run-in in 23-24, we went to Old Trafford, we won. We went to Tottenham, we won. Like, we've won big games. I win, Carabao Cup semi-final just the other day, albeit it was after his points. We went to Chelsea, won 3-2, kept it moving. I don't know. Like, anyway, let's not harbor. I get your point. I to a degree get where he was coming from, but I just, interesting chat about pundits though. Like, it's been such a topic for the last week or so, especially around Man United.
I just hate, and I think Turkish talked about it earlier in terms of like how when Henry's criticism got interpreted as, oh, is he jealous of this, or he doesn't want the current group to usurp. A lot of United fans speak about our pundits a lot similarly, right? Like, oh, Gary Neville and the class of '92 are afraid that the new group are going to take over and they're going to get forgotten. I think that's all nonsense, to be honest. I agree. I think it comes from a lot of people that didn't grow up watching those players, because any Man United fan in general would never want to see their current team lose. They want to see their team be great. And now you're talking about people who are literally born into the football club. They've been with the football club since they were 13 years old. They've won the biggest honors. Like, to think Gary Neville harbors any kind of ill feeling because he's afraid he's going to get forgotten. The guy is the most self-demeaning person in the world. I don't view it like that.
Totally agree.
100%.
Can we chat about smashing United now?
Yeah, I mean, Leah started the segment by saying this essentially feels like a free hit for United where they are, and I get that, and I agree. If the onus is on us, Jordan, James, to get the job done, bounce back in terms of our league form, 2 draws in a row, no goals scored, but no goals conceded. But it's on us, Jordan. In terms of the game itself, I mean, usually we talk about lineups, and usually we talk about our thoughts in certain positions, and I guess we can do that. But I mean, looking at the lineup that turned out against Inter, I think we pretty much know the majority of what's going to turn out against United. Yeah,
agree. This or next weekend are, I think, pivotal weekends. I always talk about don't blink, don't flinch, stand firm. We've almost broken City. City almost broken. City are almost broken. We've almost broken them. By being consistent,
themselves, by the way.
Well, yeah. Either way, they're almost done. We've almost broken their soul. I'll say this: if City don't get 3 points against Wolves on the weekend, and Arsenal beat United, it's done. It's done. And even I'll say it:
City will beat Wolves, though.
I think they will too. I'm just saying, if they draw that game somehow, and we win the following day, it's done. And then, if I'm not mistaken, City next week have either Liverpool or Spurs.
Spurs.
It's Spurs, then Liverpool, I think.
Away.
After that.
Correct. Yeah.
And I forget who we got next week, Turkish.
You've got Sunderland at home.
Yeah.
That's why I say if it's not this week, I think next week we're looking at closing in.
I think 2 weeks ago, Jordan, on Big Six, I said we can win the league in the next 4 or 5 weeks, and people were telling me to calm down. And that started with Liverpool. We should be 11 points clear now. With City still going Tottenham away, Liverpool away, with a chance to make it a 5-game swing, but it's not that. It's still 3 games. I expect City to beat Wolves. I expect us to beat United, but I do expect across the next 2 game weeks after that, City to drop more points and us to actually do our job and get this wrapped up, because we are fighting for everything. We are. So the quicker you wrap something up, the better. If you can wrap up a Carabao final in March, the first week of February, and you can wrap up the Premier League before that Carabao Cup final, you have 2 competitions left in terms of the focus for the rest of the season. Now, I'm not one of these guys. Oh, we're going to do the quad. Are we not? We can win every competition we're in, but I want the Premier League, and everything else that comes with it. But let's just wrap this up. It's there to be wrapped up.
I agree. Let's get this party finished, man. It's last drinks. Finish your drinks and get out the club. It's time to go. Let's get this done properly. I'll go one step further. And I know the comments always hate when I predict Arsenal wins and go big because they say, oh, if Arsenal go heavy, if Jordan predicts Arsenal go heavy, they always lose. Ain't gonna happen. If Arsenal win this weekend and City don't, not only do I think we win the league, I think we win the league by quite. I think we pull away. I think we could be talking double points, double figures.
I disagree, to be honest. I think it's similar to Liverpool. When you go competing deep into other competitions, I think inevitably your attention starts to drift away.
That's fair.
I think that's always a possibility because Liverpool last season, I think by January, February time, we're on course to finish with 95 points or something like that.
Yeah.
And they finished on like 84 or something, just because simply they were on the beach for the last few weeks.
All right, I'll roll back the points, but I think we win it. I think
I think we can win it at Etihad. Game week 33, I think, or game week 32. I think we can win it. And that's something we do. Old Trafford, White Hart Lane twice, Stamford Bridge twice, Anfield. We haven't done Etihad, but they haven't.
I don't like this conversation, guys.
I put it in the group. 18-4-26. That's the date. 18-4-26. We win the title at the Etihad.
Let me tell you what's happening. They've called last drinks at the bar. They've said the club's shutting. They've turned the lights on, and you realize you're more fucked than you realize. That's what's happening. You go, oh my god, that's what's going to happen. Okay?
And you know what's funny, James, as well too. When it comes to last drinks and you're at the club, no one's a bigger party pooper than Man United, right? No one likes spoiling a party more than Man United, right?
Yeah,
Man United, the guy, right?
Just take it out.
No, Man United, the guy. Sorry, James. You've been talking to this girl all night in this bar. The last drinks. You think you're going home nice, and then Man United come over with their big head and just totally mess up the whole team. They just ruin it. Just chat some nonsense.
Hey, bro, can I steal yours?
yeah.
No one likes doing that more than us, man. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna stop short on the confidence, but because every time I say it's about time we batter them, we don't batter them.
I'm gonna say
it's true. We're not battering Man United, guys. Do you see what they did against City? Yeah, really compact, 3-man midfield, no spaces, really quick one-touch football, and then runners all the time. So you know what Arteta's going to do? He's going to look at that and go, aha, the low block it is. Sit back, keep it just slow, just kill the tempo. Don't let United get in a rhythm. Don't give them space to run into. Martinelli, just tap the ball, corner, Nicholas over, you're up. That is what we're getting from Arsenal. You are kidding yourselves. If you think we're getting some high press, some 65%, field tilt, we just like the pitches like this in their third. Absolutely not. This is going to be ugly. I think we're going to win, but this is going to be ugly because Arteta will have looked at Carrick and gone, love that. Now let me try to stop you. That's what he's going to do. I'm sorry. I hope I'm wrong. That's what he's going to do.
One question on lineup, because I think it's only one question needed, unless you want to bring up the Odegaard as a debate, which we can, but Arteta's going to go Odegaard. The striker, I assume he goes Gyokeres. Is everyone, even though Jesus got 2, Gyokeres came and clapped back off the bench, Jordan?
I hope it's Gyokeres.
About this one. Go on, Lyes. You go first.
I hope it's Gyokeres. I hope you guys play him. Jesus scares me more, man.
Even the Ops want him to play. That's a bad day when the Ops were begging for him to play.
I don't know. He's on the roll, man. Chelsea, Inter, Man United. You can add that to the list as well.
I thought about this one, and I'm conflicted because I don't think Gyokeres deserves to start the game. I think he deserves some bench time. I know he scored in the week a really good goal, and he looks decent. But I don't know on one side if he's deserved the right to start this game. But equally, Jesus, like a lot of our other players, do this thing where they play really good for a few games, and we think, oh yeah. And then they just go missing for 4 or 5 games. Trossard's doing it now. It's only 6 weeks ago. We were gassing up Trossard.
Nah,
he's been missing since.
Trossard, that assist was nice.
Which assist?
The header back across goal. That Saka corner wasn't great. It was the header back from Trossard that actually.
His performance though was really mute.
Fair,
he's not played well for quite a while. So we have these players that have these like 3 or 4 games, but they're like, yeah, he's got to start, and then goes off no, he's got to start. Oh, he's missing. Oh, he's got. So that's my concern with Jesus. So I'm conflicted. I think there's a psychological question to ask about is it good psychologically to start Gyokeres off the back of getting his goal? Does he feel like, right, I'm in the groove, let me at him? Or tactically, is Jesus and his movement and his trickery in what I agree with James, in what's going to be, I think, a tight game, is that what's going to be better for Arsenal in moving United centre-backs? I don't know. I think he will go Gyokeres, but I'm just not sure if he's earned the right. I think he needs to eat a little bit more bench before we start him.
I just think Jesus has looked the better player over the last month. Far from perfect, but has looked the better player. Scored 2 goals at the San Siro. Looked really buzzy. And also, like, Gyokeres, he didn't just come on and score like a great goal from, you know, a nice strike. He had an impact. He came on. Suddenly we had an out ball. That ball from Martinelli, it's a great pass, but he attempts it because we've mentioned this. Gyokeres is the one who makes those runs. He wants to run in behind. So if things go to plan, we have a lead at some point. Actually, it's Gyokeres I want the pitch to try see it out. Headers at the near post from corners, bit more physicality and height from set pieces, and then out ball, win some fouls, get in the walls. I want him running at a Martinez and Maguire who are pulled into the channels, not back to goal against those two, because look what they just did against Haaland. Like, it's not the game for Gyokeres. I'd rather Jesus pulling away from those players. And he just came up against Acerbi, Akanji, Bastoni, whatever we think about Acerbi and whether he's passed it. They're 3 physical, strong centre-backs. And Jesus just played away from them in the right spaces. So I'd go for Jesus because, like, it worked.
He's got to be smart, because what he likes to do is fight. So with Højlund, Lyes, at your club, he likes to fight centre backs, and I think Maguire and Martinez, they want to fight. I think they want that. They want to fight. I think he's got to be. I think James is right again. I think he's got to be really smart about how he makes space for himself, about not getting so touch tight that he's easy, because he's not quick. But if he's got a bit of guile and a bit of sharpness, he can get away from people. But if he's up against Maguire, I see one person winning that battle.
Do you know what I've learned about Gyokeres? You know, he used to be called quick. Now we've kind of established he's not really that quick. I think he runs with purpose. You know, like if everyone had like a FIFA stat for pace, it probably wouldn't be that high. But I think of everyone, he probably gets closest to his max capacity because he wants to sprint. He actually just wants to run full pelt into space. And sometimes just willingness makes you a better runner than others.
Yeah, no, it does look like he's literally exerting every single last bit of what he has. He tries, man. I gotta give it to Gyokeres. He tries. I find it so funny, Jordan. You mentioned Højlund, because I've said the same. He for me is like the refined version of Rasmus Højlund. Like I see so many things. He wants to fight. He wants to wrestle. His first touch is all over the place. Gyokeres for me, he lacks a little bit of cuteness to his game. To be honest with you, like I always bring him up with Diego Costa, who was in his own right a real brute. Right, Costa was a bully. Yeah. But he had a bit of guile to him as well, too. He had these little nice touches around the corner. He could sneak away from it. He had some cuteness to him. I think Gyokeres misses that little cuteness to his game. He's too bullish. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan personally, but
cuteness is one thing, but also the aggressiveness that Costa had. Gyokeres doesn't have that either. He hasn't shown it either.
Let's call it what it was. Costa was a bastard. Yeah.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, nice word to use. Yeah. Comments. Let us know what you think Lyes would prefer to face off against Gyokeres.
I think Jordan said it perfectly. I think Jesus is more someone who's going to drag players out of position. He's going to move United's backline around. I think the game plan that we had against City was really up against Doku. We were going to have Ahmad tuck in so that he was always double teamed with Dalot, and then on the other side, Dorgu would always tuck in with Shaw and make sure. So we like playing settled attacks. Haaland doesn't really move all that much. It was perfect for us. But I think what makes Arsenal so dangerous when they're at their absolute best is how often they can pull apart teams just with their movement, off the ball, with the ball going back and forth. Aina has mentioned that a few times about how difficult it is to play against that. I think that's where Arsenal can really, really hurt United. But if Gyokeres is playing, I'm going to be honest, that does not scare. This could come back to bite me crazy. But I don't really look at that matchup as something that could really hurt us. I look at different parts of Arsenal that will really give us a problem.
Saka's going to rise this game. I've really got a feeling Saka's going to step up today. I think Saka's going to be the man. And finally, outside the box shots. Take shots outside the box. I think this is a game where it's going to be so congested. We need guys to create space for shots outside the box.
So we all
I
know
think this
Jack
game is
Nicholson.
won and lost on set pieces and in the midfield. I think that's where it is. I think if United can keep Arsenal at bay from set pieces, which honestly was the difference maker in the first meeting between us this season. I thought that one corner was really all that was between us. Yeah. And even last year in the league as well too, when we lost to you guys 2-0 at the Emirates, both goals came from set pieces. So I think set pieces are always a big weapon for you guys. And I think just the middle of the park, that's always for me where United wins and loses games. And I think with Rice, Odegaard, and Zubimendi, that's amongst, if not the best midfield in the league. So
19 corners. 19 corners, guys.
What?
19.
Oh.
19
it's mad.
19 that you've scored.
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, what's the stat this season? I think Arsenal, every game they've won bar 2 have come when a set piece has been scored in the league.
And more often than not, the opening goal as well.
Yeah.
Like,
so
like
for me, if we can keep
more,
you
like 17 of them, I think. Yeah.
It's a huge weapon you guys have. So for me, if we can keep you at bay there, then the longer the game goes, the more we frustrate you. This is where I'm hoping that we can nick something or even just get a draw. I don't know. Like I said, like I'm really going to this game very relaxed. I think all the pressure is on Arsenal completely. I think United can kind of go into this game. Obviously, you never want to lose to Arsenal, but I think all eyes will be on Arsenal. So for us, just make it as frustrating as possible. And I think we have real speed and attack that could potentially hurt you guys. I think if I look at the Inter game, granted there were injuries, but the one part where they did seem to find some success was in transition. And when I look at the 3 that we put against City, granted they are so much worse defensively than you guys. But I look at Mbemo, I look at Amad, I look at Dorgu, I look at Cunha, I look at Chesko. I think that kind of pace is potentially where we can get something against you guys.
I want to match them up. Sorry, Turkey. Sorry.
Yeah. Obviously, we always want to do that, but like we said, we've always wanted to do that, and we never do. It'll be interesting to see the Calafiori return. We don't have a clue. You know, he walks off in a warm up, and then we don't know what the hell's going on. Hincapié seems close, so the Lewis Skelly factor. You know, he does need to step it up. You know, if he does start it again.
Against Amad as well too.
Yeah,
It'll be Timber, man. It'll be Timber.
I love that. You reckon?
M White back, right back. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's Timber. Yeah. Sorry, because it's Amad. Yeah, he'll go Timber.
All right, cool. What we'll do now is we'll just look at the prediction table before we make predictions. So here's how the table looks after 17 games played across all competitions. Just a heads up, I went 1-1, so I didn't get a point from the Inter Milan game, but I picked Trossard star man who got an assist, so I picked up 2 points. James went 2-1 to Arsenal, so he picked up a point for the correct result, but he went Marino who got a yellow card, so that's -1, so James got 0.
That is nasty work.
Pippa,
tactical yellow, that was. It was clever. Shouldn't count.
Pippa, the guest, predicted 1-0, so she got 1 point for the guest slot. She also picked Timber, who got an assist, so altogether 3 points for the guest, pushes the guest slot up. And Jordan predicted the 2-2, 0 points there, and predicted Eze star man, 0 points there, so 0 added to Jordan.
What about the pre-assist? I should get like half a point for the pre. No?
This ain't hockey, man.
Yeah, there you go.
Next season.
For the audio listeners, I'm top on 31 points. James in second on 25. The guest is now 1 point behind James in third on 24, and Jordan's on 20. So a bit of a lead forming and a bit of a gap forming at the bottom for Jordan. So this is how we're going to do it. Predictions from top to bottom, Lyes. We predict the scoreline and then we predict the star man. You can predict the star man from either side. If he gets a goal, it's 4 points, an assist, 2 points, a yellow card, -1. We've got a list of it. But I'll start it off and say... I'm going to roll the dice one more time.
No, don't. No. Don't do this.
One more time, bro.
Don't.
We must.
Lyes, congrats, man. Congrats on the point. Don't do this. Don't do this.
It's never banged. Surely it's going to bang one day, man. No. Surely.
No. You did this against Ange Postecoglou's Tottenham and it didn't work. Please don't do this. Please.
All right, cool. 3-1. 3-1 and Starman. Don't cover. I was gonna say 5-1. So it's I've, you know, that's 3-1 and Starman. Declan Rice. James.
So what is it? When Turkish predicts something, it never works out.
No,
in
whenever
the big
he predicts big.
Yeah.
He said 5-0 against Tottenham. He said 4s against Chelsea, Man United. He said it all. He said it absolutely all. And then he goes to other podcasts like the Big Six, back on AFTV, he'd say it all. He'd spread that prediction Worldwide.
Hey,
Final
Lyes,
score.
I've gone through 8-2, 6-1, 6. Like, I've gone through so much. I need one.
Hey man, these are the days of your life, bro. Honestly, enjoy them.
Enjoy. 3-1 and Declan Rice star man. Go on, James.
2-1. Saka.
Oh, James!
Lyes.
Scumbag.
I know you can pick the same player, Lyes, just so you know, Jordan.
I was thinking Rice, but I want to be different now.
Okay.
And again, I'm feeling positive right now. I don't know why. I'm feeling something, man.
Do your thing.
I'm gonna go 1-1.
Yep.
And I'm gonna go Bruno.
Bruno. Okay.
Smart pick.
Okay. 1-1 Bruno. All right,
Okay.
cool.
Who else is it gonna be for United? Seriously.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan.
I'm gonna go 1-0 Arsenal. I can't go Saka now because I need to make some points up.
Jordan, for the upteenth time, yeah, you are chasing first. You are not chasing second or third. That should be the mentality. I haven't picked Saka. Just pick Saka and close the gap.
It's true. Saka, you're right.
There we
That's
go.
clever,
Saka gets
You
0.
know Saka ain't doing jack shit in this game. Well done, man.
Bro, you guys think Saka gets double teamed normally. The way Dorgu and Shaw are gonna follow him like a shadow. Oh my god. Saka won't be able to breathe, man. They're going to be glued to him.
Yeah. I don't know why I went for it. It was a stupid prediction, but
So just to round that off, I've gone 3-1 Arsenal. James has gone 2-1 Arsenal. Jordan's gone 1-0 Arsenal. Lyes has gone 1-1. And Saka's the star man for Jordan and James. Bruno for Lyes, and I've gone Declan Rice. Let us know yours in the comment section below. And on that note, the comment section below, we've got some comments of the day, hopefully, and I'm going to kick it off if you lot don't mind.
go for it.
I actually saw one pretty early on, and it was from R. Burner, and it said, would love to see a return of the rival fans. Lyes would be a big one, especially with the fixture coming up. And there you go. Your wishes are command.
Ask and you shall receive.
Lyes in the building. And I got a couple more. I mean, this one from I Believe saying, and it's a funny name, I Believe, and it's spelled IEYE, but it says, brother Turkish, too many times we had these performances and you still got large chest. How come? Where do we get this large portion of attitude from? It's funny, that one came after a 0-0 against Forest, so I understand it. But then we just beat Inter 3-1 at San Siro. So do you need to ask me where the chest comes from? There's multiple games that prove that, you know, we are headed somewhere special. Let's just get it done. That's the two I've got anyway.
This is my favorite one. I think it must be pronounced McGinn, MCG1NN. James was in the nightclub smoking area rehearsing his rant to some random bloke. So,
Yeah, I got that as well.
Lyes, I came on the podcast like half steaming, half hungover, half asleep. Just kind of went in on the players, and that's what that's referring to.
And it was funny,
You're a
Lyes,
positive
because
guy too, James. I'm surprised.
that's why. And it was funny because I was doing it in a hotel room at 4 a.m. I was actually quite soft spoken, which is unusual for me.
Yeah, I'm expecting to rip into the...
Turkish is worried about the neighbours in some random hotel in New York. So he's like, yeah, look, bit not really. I'm going off because I'm drunk. Jordan's just like 8 a.m. That's just standard practice for him. But yeah, no, yeah, I mean, you know, alcohol does things, so you know, don't drink, people.
Cool.
I had that one as well, and another one. James showed up to work drunk. Someone call HR. I like that one as well.
Well, he still delivered. So HR's passed it.
He did. He always does. He always does. And then this last one, it annoyed me because there was a lot of comments. First of all, Pippa got a lot of love. She got a lot of love. Someone proposed in the comments. It was mad.
More than love.
Lyes, be ready, mate. Too late.
These cannons after hours. So big up Pippa for coming last week. Everyone loved her. But there was a lot of comments of people bigging up Turkish for like doing a 3 a.m. pod. There's one here. Big up Turkish for staying up till 3 a.m. to do the pod. I watched these during work in the morning, so I thought I wasn't going to have a pod to watch during the shift. But here we are. Big up the panel and L4T.
Love for the love. Love for the love. L4.
Oh, love for the love. Wow.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's a good catchphrase, by the way.
Come on.
Hang on a minute. I've done pods abroad at mad times. James was in Australia walking down some random road at like, what was it, 5 a.m, trying to do a podcast. Yeah. So what's this like? This big deal that Turkish is doing a pod
Jordan,
1 pod at 3 a.m.
Jordan, you've never done a pod in the AMs, bro. I don't care where you are, Kenya, London. You've never done a pod in the AMs.
Well, I did
apart
one.
from 8
I did
AM.
one.
I've also never done one if I'm on holiday. I'm like, see you later.
like,
I'm
bruv, you've just
I'm on
You
holiday.
done in Australia, didn't you?
No, I just did a match reaction. I appreciate you
you
tuning
missed
in.
that 2
but-
weeks of shows.
Yeah, I missed like 5. Do you
Oh.
remember?
So it was a match reaction. Shame.
Yeah,
So
it
just
was a
me
match
then.
reaction.
Oh.
Yeah.
So big me up again, people, because Jordan, you know, these man can't do what I do. 4 a.m. in Brooklyn. 4 a.m. in Brooklyn. But we're gonna wrap it up here, people. Big
That's
up
like the
James.
name of a
Jordan.
Drake track, that.
Yeah,
sorry.
it is. Yeah.
Hard.
Lies, let us know, man. Obviously, you got your channel more, Lies. You've bust 100K. Big up on that. You're doing work with Rematch, and I'm gonna put some links there because we've done some content together. Great content at that. Is there anything else you got planned around the corner on the horizon?
Nah, I'm going Qatar next week for Match for Hope, so commentating that for the 3rd year in a row. That's gonna be sick. Yeah,
Nice.
it's blessing, man. Sick experience. Henri's gonna be there actually playing, so I'll link up with your guy.
Bro,
You haven't met him yet, have you, Turkish?
bro, please sort this out.
Yeah, you need, bro. You of all people, you
Please,
deserve it, bro. I'm not
Do
gonna
you
lie.
know how many fucking Henri?
Yeah, that's your guy.
I put Henri on the 2020 kit. This is the 2020. Bro. Henri's on it, bro. Every kit, I've got every kit long sleeved. All right, please talk to him, man. Tell him.
I will. But now, honestly, bro, more of the same, man. More of the same. Just talking absolute shite sometimes about everyone's team around the world, man. But no, I appreciate you guys for having me.
Best guest so far. Best guest so far, man.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
I'll take it. Hey, but for 24 hours on Sunday, we're ups. So until then,
we're ups.
the best team win.
We'll talk. People, go show Lyes some love. You already know about him. If you don't know, what the hell are you doing? Get to know. His channel's there. Couple episodes we've done together, me and Lyes, James and Lyes, and obviously the individual channels there. Coolest Disabled, Gooniverse News, and the Big Six. It's all there. Show some love, people. Love for the love as always. Like, hype, subscribe, do all of that, and we'll be back after the Man United game. That'll be at Monday morning, and another special guest. And when I say special, I mean special. Like Lyes, we've got another one around the corner. So make sure you're there, subscribe, notification bell on, and see you again Monday, people. Love for the love. We're out. Peace.